Alright, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? You guys love ABC, right? Well, we got a lot of ABC to talk about this weekend. And whether or not it was the 10th place list from Mexico, which we'll probably cover sometime later this week. And this bad boy right here. And let me tell you guys, this bad boy right here got second at the New Zealand Regional, piloted by John Huang. Actually doing relatively well. Now, I didn't necessarily think that we were going to put ABC in a deck as easy as 1, 2, 3 with Mekk-Knights. But you know what? I'm very clearly wrong on these concepts going together. So I can't be, I guess, too shocked by this. Now, overall, looking at the framework for this deck, the Mekk-Knight package is relatively small. I mean, just 2 blue and 2 purple. Kind of start things off in terms of discussion here. Like, you could probably systematically mess around with this a little bit, but like, it's kind of up to you for what you want to do with it. Obviously, like, Summon Sorceress Reproticus in this deck is absolutely disgusting, because being able, call it for what it is, like, any time that you can play Summon Sorceress in ABC and make it successfully, and, you know, like, clone pieces and things like that, like, it gets really adorable for the things that you can do. Outside of, like, your standard shenanigans that this deck can already do, having access to Goes and Matches, the active Floodgate, just makes things a little bit better. Now, he did want me to mention that the reason he plays Instant Fusion plus Hornet Drones over the gadgets is because I don't want his normal summons to be wasted on gadgets. And I can actually respect that. He also said he can just core normal summon the pieces. The deck wants to go first, but it doesn't mind going second, as Instant Fusion plus a Mekk-Knight provides more diverse plays and is able to tank interruptions like Ghost Ogre and things like that. And I actually think it's one of the cool pieces about like teching a little Mekk-Knight engine like this in, is because it can better adjust your deck for going second. I definitely think that in terms of both builds and both modes, that this deck does try to take advantage of a little bit more of a diverse middle ground here. Because, once again, like, yes, you want to go first, but, like, you can very easily shift those gears and go second without really any real complaints about it. So, I will give that to John. Like, you are kind of getting the best of both worlds initially looking at the build here. That, you know, no matter what really happens, you did it. Like, you can go first or second. So, let's dig on in to this really interesting concoction that we've got going here. So we have AAA Assault Core. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. Most of the builds I see, most people cut C to 2. I don't know if it's just kind of a core preference at this point, or if people are just kind of like worried that they don't want to like dead draw a piece. But we've maxed out on triple copies of A, triple copies of B, and triple copies of C. But just kind of something I wanted to note in terms of other people that are going to be watching this video. Like, oh no, triple C. Like, yeah, it's probably just for consistency reasons. Like, your core normal summon monsters are this. And like we said over here when we were talking about this earlier, like, we're not playing the gadgets to kind of act as the extenders that you think that we would want to have in the deck. No, that's not what we're going for here. But do be aware that, hey, we are maxing out on these pieces for the reason of, you know, we do want them on the core normal summon. Now, of course, the Mekk-Knight engine of 2 blue. Honestly, the small package that we've got going here between the 2 pieces, between 2 blue, 2 purple, like, the purple will tag out into the blue, and then the blue can go recruit for more purples. It's just a really small, cute engine of things that you can kind of have access to, really to kind of speed up the deck. Like, the more I look at this, I'm like, this is actually really fucking cute. Now, we are playing 2 copies of Ash Blossom, and you can probably mess around with this if you really want to, just in terms of ratio, because I already know somebody's going to be like, oh no, like, ugh, I don't like these ratios. Well, 2 Ash Blossom, call it what it is, Between this and 2 Ghost Ogres might be player preference for the most part, but I can understand this. You could probably ship these up for more of your localized metagame if you're going into a regional or something, and for some reason you're scared about other potential options. Just be aware that you could probably change this up how you want. Also, 2 copies of Called by the Grave. I do like how this is a lot of 2-ofs, though, in this deck. Like, between these, like, his hand trap ratios are looking pretty stable. I don't see any real complaints about that. Now, triple copies of Instant Fusion. We're going to be using this as fodder to make sure that we can set up cool plays. Once again, Reproticus and the Summon Sorceress, clone a piece, is really fucking adorable. You can call it what it is, but Yu-Gi-Oh! We have 2 copies of Desires. Once again, it's Desires, like, banish. Just make sure that when you play this, you're not going to put yourself into a shitty situation by losing fucking core pieces, because, like, even though 10 cards is a lot and you've maxed out on pieces to prevent this from happening, I've still seen horror stories about this. 1 copy of Hornet Drones, once again, opening up more diverse plays and cute things like that. Like, absolutely no reason not to do this. Once again, hello Reproticus, how are you, buddy? 2 copies of Terraforming. We've got to search for the best card in our deck, aka the Field Spell. 2 copies of Twin Twisters. I mean, discarding a piece isn't necessarily a very terrible idea, which, I mean, hell, helps us out. Now, I blinked there for a second. Now, triple copies of Union Hanger. Thinking about this, though, like, why would you not max out on this, right? Right? 2 copies of Impermanence. Once again, we're continuing on with the trend of 2/2/2 on top of our hand trap ratios. Like, I don't want to fuck with these too much because, honestly, changing things around a little bit too much might disrupt the deck. 2 copies of Ghost in Match. Once again, we're on this anti-kick of just straight 2-ups for this build. Like, hey man, if it works, it works. 1 copy of Skill Drain. Seems like a lot of people kind of forgot about this. You're playing a deck that is very, very, very much on the cusp of wanting to not care about what the shit on the field does. Plus, you can ABC Dragon Buster effect Skill Drain, and then, you know, have that active and then toggle out on your opponent's turn, so you do get the disruption. That's really cute. I don't know how many guys forgot about that. We have 1 copy of Solemn Warning and 2 copies of Solemn Strike. Straight 2-ofs, by the way, the deck. Now, the extract down here is going to be taking full advantage of Reproticus Summon Sorceress. So we have 1 copy of Underclock, 1 copy of Summon Sorceress for the combos. We have 1 copy of Kagari, once again Hornet Drones. 1 copy of Reproticus. God, I love this card. We have 1 copy of Cleforta Genius. We have 1 copy of Nightmare Unicorn, of course. 1 Phoenix, 1 Cerberus. Both of these are going to be used to potential problems that our opponent's trying to put on the board for us to deal with. 1 copy of Decode Talker, probably the best synergy card. Like, pretty good. 1 copy of Borreload Dragon, steal your opponent's shit, the card. Like, we have 1 copy of Thousand Eyes Restrict, taking our opponent's threatening cards and then being able to toggle out into something bigger in terms of value is really great. 1 copy of Panzer Dragon, once again, Instant Fusion for climbing the ladder is so good. And then triple copies of ABC Dragon Buster, honestly the heart and soul of the deck. Like, without this, I don't know what we'd be doing. Now, the side deck is looking pretty interesting here. We have 2 copies of Inspector Border. And using your, like, effect pieces and things like that, like, I don't see any real clash in using this as a resource in the side deck because, I mean, call it what it is, but how many of your monster effects do you actually use? Besides, I mean, this guy, but it is what it is. Now we're playing 2 copies of Prankatops. I've seen a lot of different opinions on this card, but being able to tribute itself, have it be a 2600 beat stick, like, this card is an absolute monster for what it needs to do for the current game. We have 2 copies of Mind Control. Taking anything that your opponent might put on the board is relatively not a bad thing. I mean, move it over, so go ahead and step on into Reproticus, start your day, like, it's pretty cute. The 3rd copy of Called by the Grave, if it's not in the main, it needs to be in the side deck so you have access to it for literally all points in time, which is pretty good. 2 copies of Shared Ride. We definitely started seeing this become a side deck trend, literally just against Sky Strikers to make sure that we don't have to deal with that shit. 2 copies of Evenly Altergeist. is a pain in the ass. Most OTK decks are playing red reboot. Evenly is absolutely fine as an alternative to this, just to kind of make sure that you can make progressive plays against them. And then 2 copies of Heavy Storm Duster. Honestly, this is I'm starting to really like this card in the side. The 3rd copy of Ghost and Match has also found its way into the side, depending on the matchup, but you need to make sure you can draw it more. You have it here. And then, of course, 1 copy of Imperial Order. Going first, opening this after you've done all of your plays in the deck, like, is literally just a win con against people. So, guys, what do you think about this list? Please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think about the deck. And, well, guys, I am out. The ride never, well, truly ends. Thank you, patrons. Without you guys, I don't know what I'd be wearing in these videos. I might be a Truffle Shuffle incident all over again. Guys, please also check out Vanquil40 for some awesome Vanguard content. Some other interesting stuff you might find up here on the left or in the description as well. Thanks for watching.